Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so mad cow disease was a big problem, especially in Great Britain, and it wasn't until we figured out what was going on that we got a real handle on it. But look, mad cow disease is only one of the things that a biologist might study. In fact, there's viruses and bacteria that cause big problems. And you know what? Right here in this soil, there's millions of microbes that we can't live without. In fact, I bet you'd be surprised what we dig up.
Those squirrels are a hoot. This just in. Reports of a dangerous killer bacteria are spreading through the Metroplex, killing thousands of people. So if you're sitting at home with flu-like symptoms, if you're sitting at home with a bowl of chicken noodle soup, you may be counting your days. Thousands sick. No, not really. But I bet you're paying attention now. Today's top story is why most bacteria are good for you. And joining us with a special report in the field is Suze. Take it away, Suze.
This giant field is home to a zillion types of bacteria. They're vital for plant growth and the terrestrial life cycle. It's microscopic stuff, but it has a huge impact on our lives. So let's start by looking at 3 examples of how bacteria are beneficial. The first one is pretty close to home. Inside our guts are tiny rod-shaped bacteria called E. coli. Sure, when certain strains of E. coli get into the food we eat, we can get sick, really sick. But other strains of E. coli occur naturally in our guts, and they aid in the formation of necessary vitamins like vitamin K and B complex. Gut bacteria are good for other animals too. Take cows, for instance. They have a special bacteria that help them break down the plant material they eat. Without those bacteria, they would have a hard time getting any nutrients from the cellulose in their food. Finally, bacteria are good for the health of plants, which brings us to the work of ecologist Ramesh Langani. Let's go.
So what I'm doing out here is I'm trying to examine how plants and soil bacteria interact to affect the composition of this grassland. And by the composition, I mean what species are in this grassland that we're standing in right now. And one of the most important aspects of the plant-bacteria relationship is their relationship with the element nitrogen. Nitrogen is really, really important to plants because it's key for photosynthesis. However, nitrogen is only produced by the soil bacteria. So the interaction between the plants and those soil bacteria that produce nitrogen is really, really important to study because the soil bacteria produce types of nitrogen in the soil, specifically ammonium and nitrate, that plants can take up in their roots and take up into their tissues. But this type of soil is sandy, and so the nitrogen doesn't stay in the soil very long. So because the plants are so limited by the availability of nitrogen, it's really important they get as much nitrogen as they can. So they're going to be competing really strongly for that nitrogen.
Those are mine. It's mine.
So again, the bacteria are the ones that are producing that nitrogen, and the plants are just trying to get as much as they can. So if they can have a relationship with the bacteria that helps them get more nitrogen, that's great for the plants.
Ramesh collects soil samples to quantify how much usable nitrogen is being produced by the soil bacteria. Remember, atmospheric nitrogen is abundant, but plants can't access it without the help of soil bacteria, which convert atmospheric nitrogen into ammonium and nitrate. Ramesh then measures the amount of ammonium and nitrate in the soil to determine how much nitrogen is available to plants. His research suggests that bacteria produce different amounts of nitrogen depending on which plant species they are near. The amount of usable nitrogen will determine which plants grow best, so soil bacteria can affect plant composition in grassland communities. That's the story on soil bacteria and plants. Let's check in with Danny to see what's going on with good bacteria in the human body.
I think I ate some dirt when I was a kid. Is that where I got my bacteria? Let's find out.
We are born with bacteria, but we also acquire good bacteria from our mothers as we pass through the birth canal, and we also acquire good bacteria from our environment. The latest study indicates that there are well over 5,000 species of bacteria in the human body, good bacteria.
Whoa, okay. So what would you consider the top three?
Three most important good bacteria would include bacteria to break down our milk products, lactobacillus, Streptococcus, if you want to know the important name, is basically bacteria we find in the stomach. It helps to break down different products within the stomach. And also we have bacteria, good bacteria that help to break down sugars, long sugar molecules that need to be broken down into smaller units such that the intestines can then absorb it. So the bacteria play an extremely important role in breaking down these large sugar molecules and use them for energy and exercise and all of the wonderful things that we know about.
Pretty creepy, huh? Well, I think these little guys are really cool because they help us out so much. So I'm gonna have my little yogurt right here.
So we've learned that not all bacteria are bad. We have them in our guts just like other animals, and as we've learned here today, plants depend on them too.
Yeah, but before we leave, here's something for you to think about. If bacteria are so important for us, what happens to the good bacteria when we take antibiotics? Well, I'm gonna leave this one for you to discover yourself. But promise me one thing, even if you're looking at small stuff, never stop exploring your world.
I got nothing, come up for air, but nothing. Looking for an answer, looking for a clue. If I had to buy a vowel, the letter would be you. 'Cause only you can break the spell on me.
So that's a wrap.